Good evening, avoiders of stress and seekers of happiness. So we're all on that road, I hope. I hope nobody's actively looking for more stress and looking to avoid being happy. That would be interesting. There'd be a reason for it, and I presume that would bring them a measure of contentment or satisfaction, which would mean that they were actually getting happy out of it. Anyway, yesterday we were talking about words of wisdom, and I threw out there that wisdom is, in one sentence, knowing how to avoid pain. And then I went on to say that might mean different things for different people, because what some people find stressful or painful, other people might like a lot. So, one of the ways that people attempt to better their situation is, well, they do it through self-talk. We all do. And the question is, do we take control of the self-talk and the thoughts going on in our head, or do we just, it's the whole thing, do we let them control us? So in other words, are we in charge? Are we riding the pony, or is the pony riding us? Are we driving the car, or is the car driving us? If you do not control your anger will control you. So we'll deal with the beating up part of yourself. We'll talk about the positive self-talk tomorrow. But today, just to keep this short, depending on where in your stress control journey you are, it's possible, like when I was at the beginning, I was constantly demeaning myself, saying negative things to myself, about my abilities, about my right to have any kind of expectations out of life. And they were unrealistic simply because I'd done quite a lot. I'd been pretty successful in examinations, not straight A student, but while I hadn't got straight A's, I had also had a fairly full creative life and a pretty full social life as well. So I managed to cram a lot into my my pint pot. I managed to get 2 pints into my pint pot, and I performed sufficiently well, to be able to go to the education establishment of my choice. But this wasn't good enough for me, and I learned how to write songs. I'd done quite a few things in my time. So, but this is in the nature of things. We tend to ignore all our successes and concentrate only on what we deem to be our failures, our less than satisfactory points, the things that neglect. Is that the right word? Things that, no, it's not the right word. Things that detract. Things that we're not particularly, they detract from our successes. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. They are less than stellar in our eyes, but sometimes to other people, they still think, well, you did it. Yeah, you might not think much of it yourself, but you did it, and that impressed that person. So there's a lot of things that we should take stock of. And again, pen and paper time. If you get yourself a fairly large sheet of paper and write down absolutely everything that you have achieved, which required any kind of effort, even if it's going on a 10-mile hike, and you do it regularly. Now, the first one will have been a bit of a sweat for you. For metric people, that'd be 16 kilometers. So learning anything, learning any kind of new skill, whatever it is, write it down. And you've then got a list of accomplishments. So that is your starting point for doing something about the negative self-talk in your head. And I'm going to leave it at that. I really think that even if you, because I'm like everybody else, I hear these advice, I think that's a good idea, and I never get around to doing it. So I'm going to stop the video now and just get yourself somewhere quiet and think. If you don't want to write it down, fair enough, but dictate it into your phone. Make a verbal list. Okay, that's not going to take a lot of effort, is it? Got voice notes or whatever, or use text to speech and write down everything that you can think of. And if you need to take 30 minutes over this, do so. Everything, every little thing. Your first time you got an A, how old were you? The first time you made someone smile with a joke. These are all accomplishments. The first time you did something kind for someone else without a single thought for yourself. That is a big, big, big accomplishment. You might have been 2 years old, but something that made somebody, it took their breath away. They were surprised, or they were, you do that for me? Yeah? You had an effect on somebody's life. The first time, if you're that way inclined, that you made your first penny, your first cent, your first euro, that'd be a European cent, wouldn't it? If you're an entrepreneur type, whatever personality type you are, everything, 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 write it down, dictate it into your phone. Please make some sort of a record of it, because you've got something to listen back to then, or to read back, and that is the starting point of doing something about our self-talk and our self-opinion, okay, and our self-worth. So until tomorrow, as usual, if you found this useful, like, subscribe, and all that other stuff. If you didn't find it useful, you think it's a load of old nonsense, react accordingly. There's a little mechanism down there to record that as well. And tell me why in the comments. Tell me why you think it's a load of old nonsense. We're going somewhere with this. It's not just a silly old exercise, and we're going somewhere with it that I've been visited, and you know, I can vouch for. I can tell you it was a good, not a waste of time. Okay, bye for now. To your greater happiness.